County Road 1. If you live along Alabama Highway 5, that runs from Thomasville back up towards Pine Hill and then curves north from there. If you live along Highway 5 from Pine Hill back to Thomasville, if you live along Leroy Randolph Road, Wilcox County Road 1, Wilcox County Road 9, you need to get in that tornado safe place quickly. Then from there, this will head on across County Road 9, County Road 18, very near Pine Hill. And close. Then eventually this will end up closer to Highway 10. That's State Route 10 right there. So this is Yellow Bluff right here. Coy is here. There's Camden. Miller's Ferry will be right up here. So this is going to affect initially the western part of the county near Pine Hill. Then from there, Yellow Bluff, Miller's Ferry, and then like Tyler said, eventually if this holds together long enough, this will get in towards downtown Camden.
And I wouldn't wait. If you see these times and you're near any of these locations and you see those times there, don't wait until close to that time. Get to your safe place now. That way you know you've made it in enough time to be as safe as possible once the storm gets to your neighborhood there. I would recommend getting there if you're in this tornado warning polygon. If your phone was triggered with an alert from the either an emergency alert there because it's a tornado warning, or if your WSFA weather app gave you that alert, if you're in the tornado warning polygon, you need to go to your most interior room, lowest level of your home. Basements and storm shelters are the best, but an interior room, lowest level, bathroom, hallway, closet that does not have doors or windows to the outside in the room, that's where you need to be, and you need to be there now. Don't wait until it gets there. It's moving, I believe, northeast at 50 miles an hour. You're not going to see the tornado. It's rain wrapped. There's no point in even trying to look at it or trying to find it to take pictures, to go viral on social media. It's not worth it. I would recommend safe place. If you're in that polygon, safe place now. Don't wait.
Yeah, and boy, this thing is probably in the geographic center of the radar gap.
Yeah, this whole complex is in a phenomenal spot.
Yeah. He says sarcastically. Oof. So, for reference, see this little semicircle right there? That's sort of the edge of the usable data from the Birmingham radar. Then we can show you this little semicircle would be the edge of the usable data off the Maxwell radar. And here's Mobile. This would be the edge of that. So this one is way out here in the fringe area. We have got to get a radar out here. I talk about this all the time, but this is shameful. This area gets more tornadoes than most parts of America. And Alabama is #1 in tornado deaths per capita, and we don't have adequate radar coverage. Shame on us for allowing that to happen as a meteorological community. We're doing our best to fix it, but it's going to take time. And so I think, Tyler, Birmingham radar probably gives us the best look in.
Yeah,
but
the Wilcox
we're
one,
choosing between a bunch of bad options.
Right, because any rotation, our tools here in the storm track zone here, any of our barren tools are going to see rotation. It's thousands of feet off the ground.
Right.
And do you have a tornado on the ground? Of course, tornadoes, when they're on the ground, that's not thousands of feet high. That's on the ground, and you're not seeing that here.
Right. So we're literally kind of, the phrase flying under the radar has military origins, but the low-level part of this storm is doing that right now. And, I like fairness. I think you should have access to low-level radar coverage, whether you live in Pine Hill or Homewood or Mountain Brook or Fairhope or Daphne or Madison. But all of those other communities I just named, they have excellent low-level radar coverage. But out here in West Alabama, we're not getting that. So we're doing the best we can without really able to see it. So if we have a tornado, it's going to be right in here, close to the Wilcox-Clark line right now, kind of between Thomasville and Pine Hill. Movement with this towards the east-northeast at around 50 miles per hour, per the National Weather Service in Mobile. Another strong circulation in far northeastern Wayne County moving into Choctaw. That's back with the line itself. So what we'll do, we'll go back to the
tornado warnings here in far west Alabama.
So Camden, we've talked about you already. Camden, Miller's Ferry, Pine Hill, take cover. Lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet. And Tyler, you were talking a little bit about this. This is a big mess back here, but unfortunately a big mess that we're going to have to contend with in some of our southwestern counties.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to do a Washington, Choctaw, eventually Clark, and then as we've talked about, you've hit on this, all of us on the weather team have discussed this event for the last few days, and you've mentioned you've seen this rodeo before, this line here, if you will, which is the main severe weather event. The line, and just ahead of it, it's going to be a southwest and far south central Alabama event. You've seen it before. They play out similarly most times, and that looks to be the case here. US 80, especially the farther south you are of US 80 here, is where this risk is going to remain the highest for the next several hours. And we've also mentioned this. It's not an entirely day-long event. It's going to be the next 4 to 5-6 hours, and the severe threat after that plummets.
Yeah, and if you look at radar here, Tyler, it's doing exactly what we thought when we talked about it running to the coast. Down here, this part is going to begin to speed up and drag everything straight down. This will end up much closer to Mobile than Montgomery by the time it's said or done, in my opinion. So the main tornado threat ends up sort of where we are now and then points kind of south and southeast from there. So
go ahead and
roughly Demopolis to Andalusia would be where we're most concerned.
Got the white pencil on for you if you'd like to draw.
Yeah, I think this ends up doing like this. And I've seen this a bunch here. And I understand I grew up in Alabama as a weather geek, so I watched this as a child, as a teenager, and now my entire career I've worked in different cities, but every single time they've been cities that had Alabama counties in our service area, whether I was in Meridian, Atlanta, or now here for 13, 14 years now. So I've paid attention to this for a really long time, and when you get a linear mesoscale convective system like this one, shaped like this, in this kind of pattern, they tend to run to the water. They tend to go south towards the Gulf of Mexico. It's almost like they're heat-seeking missiles. Obviously, they're not, but they behave that way, where they just feel out that warm, muggy air of the Gulf and race towards it, and that ends up being bad news for southwest Alabama. But from Montgomery points north, that stabilizes us very quickly. We get underneath what's called a cold pool, generated large area of just kind of rain. So the news here is mixed, damaging wind and tornado threat. I would suggest, again, we've drawn this out a couple of times, Tyler, but kind of this part of the state right over here would be where I would be concerned about possible tornado problems over the next
and you
couple
may
of
get,
hours.
let's pretend someone, they're looking at this right now. They say, well, Josh, that tornado warning in Wilcox County, look the way it's aimed. It almost looks like it's aimed at Selma, Montgomery, and Prattville. Well,
what is it Lee Corso says? Not so fast,
not
my
so
friend.
fast.
Yeah, so what happens here, notice this is the dew point, and you get up here, dew points in the 50s typically don't support severe weather. Frankly, dew points around 60 are marginal at best. So you'll notice the fuel here, upper 50s to near 60 for Montgomery points north and east. Now compare that, see the numbers out here, 68, 65, 65, 66, Jackson, 69. See how the numbers are bigger out in this part of the state right out here. So that's where we've seen that return of warm, muggy air. We haven't in Montgomery and points north and east, and that's why we have said all along, we have been very consistent in our forecast that the main severe weather threat would set up in this part of Alabama, and we stand by that. We think that's still the case, and even though, again, I get what Tyler's saying, and I get where you could think that, and Tyler, I think you're right on the money. People will look at that Camden storm and say, gosh, that's pointed right at Montgomery, and it is. It will weaken as it moves here, most likely. Now, we'll watch. You still need to pay attention, but odds are good this will probably weaken as it moves towards us.
Yeah, I would say that that's the case for anybody along and north of US 80. Likely weakening as activity pushes north of US 80 once it gets there. But, we do have to accept the fact that we are under a tornado watch. Most of our counties are.
Right.
So any storms that you do get today, just treat them maybe with a little more caution than you otherwise would, just because that tornado watch is in effect. Watch means conditions are favorable. So conditions are supportive, even if it's not by much, but still supportive enough of tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail until 2 o'clock is when that tornado watch goes until. So, of course, until 2 o'clock, if you're under that tornado watch, treat all storms seriously and just know that the risk is at least there. It's greater south of US 80, but the risk is there for most of our viewing area here. So here's our update, Josh. You just zoomed in. Looks like Clark County is out of this particular warning. It is exclusively Wilcox County now. There's your area of rotation. That would be right near Pine Hill.
Headed towards Midway, Miller's Ferry, Yellow Bluff. If you live along the Alabama River south of Miller's Ferry, really, if you live along the Alabama River anywhere from Roland Cooper State Park, curving around to Miller's Ferry, and then south from there back to Yellow Bluff, be in that tornado safe place. We use that phrase a lot. What does it mean? Well, it depends on where you live. If you're in a mobile home, unfortunately, there are no safe options. You need to get out. Even if it means going and laying flat in a ditch, that would be a better option than remaining in a mobile home. If you live in a site-built structure, the idea is to get as low as you can and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Best way to do that is this graphic sort of leads you towards think like an architect. Think about your house's floor plan and think about it kind of this way. And if your house were to look like this, you don't want to be in a big room. You don't want to be in the living room. You want to be in a small room without windows, central part of your house. Bathroom, hallway, closet, interior hallway would be the best case option. Again, this is if you live in western Wilcox County. Tyler, you need to be going through that tornado safety plan.
Yeah, and you already need to have this plan set in your mind. This isn't a, well, now I need to figure out what I'm going to do. You need to already have these plans in mind. If you're in a home, in a house, if you're in a mobile home or a manufactured home, you should have already known that the risk of severe weather was coming, and you need to be in a location to where you can get to a safe place in less than 5 minutes. If you can't, you need to make sure that you're already somewhere else that does have a safe place. Those are never great places to be. Don't be driving if there's a warning issued for your region. That's never a good idea to be in a vehicle, no matter what kind of vehicle it is. And it's always a good idea to make sure you're, whatever structure it is, work, school, you have a tornado safe plan in place that you can enact and proceed with in the event that a tornado warning is issued. It's not time to sit and think about it. You need to actually be able to know where to go. You need to have that already figured out, where you're going. And once that warning is issued, you need to pull the trigger immediately and get to that safe place. This is not a figure out phase. This is a acting phase at this point.
You're exactly right. Yeah, and I've heard it said kind of concisely, the time to make a tornado plan is not when the roof is flying off.
Right.
Now, obviously, we don't know if anyone's roof is flying off right now. This is a radar-indicated tornado. It may or may not be on the ground. We have to treat it as if it is, as a course of least regret, and you should too. But Tyler's overarching point here is don't wait until you're under the gun and feeling stressed and pressured and, oh gosh, what do I do? People tend to make poor decisions in tense circumstances. It's human nature. So think long-term, think ahead of time. And if you're new here, if you've just moved to the state of Alabama, we have people moving here all the time for all sorts of reasons, military reasons, business reasons, retirement reasons. This is a part of life here. We deal with tornadoes every year in our state. It has always been that way. It will always be that way. So if you are new here, you do not need to freak out, panic, scream, be scared. You just need a plan. You need multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings. You need to know where you'll go ahead of time if you're placed under a tornado warning. That's it. You do those two things, you'll skate through tornado season just fine.
You're doing as much as you can if you do those things.
That's
You're
right.
Doing as much as you physically can.
There, somewhere in that would be our rotation. Wonder if it's easier to see in reflectivity. Maybe.
Slightly. It's not the greatest.
No, it's not.
Wonder
When
what
he says greatest, he means clearest signature.
Does shear rate show anything? That's some exclusive technology we have, and no, it's too far from radar to show it if it was going to show. Although
that's sheer swath, so that may have been a previous storm.
That's true.
So
hard to tell, and you can get shear with hail-producing storms.
Once you probably, given what this looks like right now, I doubt it was showing that last scan. So that was probably a previous storm.
Right.
So we are on the air right now, by the way, for a tornado warning in Wilcox County. This is a possible tornado, a radar-indicated tornado on the western side of the county. It's going to move towards Miller's Ferry. It's over Pine Hill now. So Miller's Ferry, west end and north side of Camden, if it holds together. So you need to stay in that tornado safe place there, Wilcox County.
Yeah, and we've got storms behind it that we have to watch too. So it's very possible that this storm continues on its journey, and as it pushes closer as if it wants to get into Dallas County, it could weaken. As we know, the environment's less supportive the farther north it gets. It could weaken, but that doesn't mean we're done. Just know this isn't a one-line type of deal. It looks like you almost have two lines, actually more than that, but two lines of current severe warned storms. One is in far west Alabama, the Washington County, Choctaw County area, getting into Clark County, and then the one in Wilcox County there that is prompting a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning. And just like last week, these severe thunderstorm warnings today, if you're placed under one, could end up being the type of storms that produce quick spin-ups at any point. So I would treat severe thunderstorm warnings, if you're in this line, as tornado warnings, because we learned last week these little embedded circulations can produce tornadoes very fast, and they can be on the ground for literally not even a half a mile and lift again.
The Camden tornado, the EF1 that hit Camden was on the ground for 3 minutes.
Look at it. See?
You know, did a lot of damage, dropped out of the sky almost instantaneously. Even with good radar coverage, we might not have caught it, but in Camden, we have terrible radar coverage, so there was no chance of catching it either by us or the National Weather Service. So Tyler's right. Up and down this line, really, up and down these two lines from Camden curving back over towards Waynesboro and Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Let's animate this and see how much southerly motion we're getting in that line. You can kind of see it starting
the last few scans.
Those last few scans, it's really starting to accelerate southward more than eastward. So I really do. I get the sense this is primarily going to be Choctaw County, Washington County. Here's Choctaw. Choctaw, Washington, Mobile, Baldwin, Clark, Monroe, Wilcox for a little while longer, then Conecuh and Escambia counties. That's where I think the greatest risk of a tornado and damaging wind lies over the next hour. Now, a lot of you watching us to the north, you're saying, well, what about us? You're not talking about us. And I say this a lot when I speak to groups in person. If we're doing severe weather coverage and you hear us saying your town's name a lot, that's terrible. That's not a good thing. So if we're not saying your town's name, it's not that we're ignoring you, it's that we don't see anything terribly concerning for you. That's good news.
Yeah, that's good news. That's not, I hope that doesn't trigger the what about me, what about my town reaction out of you. If you don't hear us talking about you, just assume you're in good shape.
You're in good shape.
Now, we may have multiple warnings and you may have to bounce around. So if you are under a warning and we're not at the exact second looking at your neighborhood, your county, just know that we will get to you.
We will get right back to it. We have to serve hundreds of thousands of households across the southern half of Alabama. So it's impossible sometimes to just focus on one thing. And a broader view here, scattered thunderstorms around much of the state now. Prolific lightning producers back into western Barber, southeastern Pike, Crenshaw, much of Montgomery County, parts of Elmore, Tallapoosa, Autauga, Chilton. It's raining torrentially in a lot of these places. Thunder, lightning, gusty wind, but so far, as of 8:53 a.m., we do not see anything in any of this that makes us think there's a risk of large hail, damaging wind, or tornadoes at this precise moment. Could that change? Sure. But as we've mentioned, we think the kind of epicenter of this severe weather episode will primarily stay confined to southwest Alabama. As the line moves east, we'll see this expand more into Wilcox and Monroe. But that's where, if you're watching us anywhere other than Wilcox County, things are all right now. The weather's not fun, don't get me wrong. It's raining torrentially, the sky's dark, thunder is rumbling your house around. But you're okay. There's no risk of damaging weather for you in this precise moment. That is confined, Tyler, back here to the west into Wilcox.
Wilcox County would be it. And by the way, we talk about the different National Weather Service offices. That's certainly warrants some attention there between Pine Hill and Camden, Josh.
It's the strongest we've seen it.
Yes, different National Weather Service offices cover Wilcox County. Mobile covers Wilcox. And Dallas County, which is where the storm would go next, is covered by Birmingham. So it'll be interesting to see if there's agreement between the offices to expand a warning, whether it be a tornado or a severe thunderstorm warning, into Dallas County. Dallas County, be on standby here as we watch this now more impressive looking, I would argue, circulation right over Yellow Bluff, Josh. And if that, where the storm is, it may be near the warm front, which could be enhancing low-level spin, which could support farther strengthening and perhaps a tornado. So if you're near Yellow Bluff, literally right this second, Yellow Bluff is where it is. In the next several minutes, it'll be Camden, points north of Camden, Miller's Ferry, Midway. In the next couple of minutes here, that is where that potential tornado would be going. You can see it right here. Almost looks like two different colored pixels going up against each other, the bright colors and then those dark greens. Usually we talk reds and greens, but when you get out to an area where radar coverage is poor, you don't see reds and greens. You see kind of more of a messy
green
signature.
And more green.
Exactly. But this right here, you take our word for it, is where there would be a possible tornado right near Yellow Bluff.
Right along the Alabama River.
Yeah.
Very near Yellow Bluff. This is headed straight towards, if you draw a line from Camden to Miller's Ferry, I think this will go right between those two. So if you live anywhere along Highway 10 from Camden back up north, Alabama 28 runs from Camden to Miller's Ferry, get in that tornado safe place right now. So here's County Road 20. This is going to cross County Road 20, parallel the river, and head up towards Cobb's Landing and Alabama Highway 28. So Miller's Ferry would be up here. The dam would be back behind the banner. This is Alabama 28 that comes back down into downtown Camden. Camden, you're in the polygon. Stay in that tornado warning safe place. Tornadoes don't always move on a straight line. They can be erratic. They can curve at times. So we want you to stay in that safe place if you live near Camden, Wilcox Central High School, Bridgeport, Midway, Miller's Ferry if you live near the dam, all the way back down 28 into downtown Camden, lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet. Your possible tornado will be right out here near the Alabama River in the vicinity of Yellow Bluff. So movement here off towards the northeast. We'll do a storm track on this one, Tyler, and see what we can get out of it. Off towards the east-northeast at around 50. Now understand, when you see this storm track, you're going to see a lot of Dallas County in here. Now, there is no formal tornado warning at this point in time for Dallas County. That could change at any given moment. The National Weather Service in Birmingham handles Dallas County. If they're convinced there's enough rotation, they'll issue into Dallas. But as of right now, I would just sort of confine this. Yellow Bluff, it's now. Wilcox Central High School, northwest side of Camden, in about 8 to 10 minutes. Pleasant Hill community all over into parts of Dallas County, that would be after, say, 9:10. So a first alert here. If you live in Dallas County, I think you need to be
there. Nope. That was your storm track. I was jumping on the gun there.
That can happen.
Yeah. Let's see.
So,
you know what? I'm gonna just click
see what Birmingham's got up there.
Yeah. See if they're chatting about it.
Sell and Wilcox being watched is what they have said.
Yeah. So.
And then a hail report there from Pike County.
Yeah. Hail report from Pike County. Northwest of the Troy Country Club, there reports hail of 1 inch, which is quarter size. So that storm definitely warranted the warning, I would say. Let's see, just making sure what they're talking about when they say Autauga, Chilton, with a tad bit.
There's a shear axis up there. I noticed that one a moment ago.
Let's see what.
I think it's a little south of being a damaging wind signature, but it's worth watching.
Right.
See it there?
Between Clanton and Pine Level, looks like there could be some enhanced wind.
Little wind shear axis there. Probably close to the warm front there, I would suspect.
We'll have to watch that one. Just know if you're between Clanton and Pine Level and then points east from there, so that would be getting into Elmore and southern Coosa, just know there could be a confined area of damaging wind, or at least high wind potential.
Wind. Yeah, we'll call this noticeable wind here. Marbury, Pine Level, Titus, Rockford, Flag Mountain. If you live along Highway 22. So this is very close to Peach Park right now. Peach Park sits off the interstate there, right here. This is just, looks like it's gone just past Peach Park. This would be just past the Alabama EMA headquarters right now. Johnson Controls is a big industrial plant right there. This is moving east out along 22. So this will head on over towards Lake Mitchell, southern Coosa County, northern Elmore County, northern Autauga County. What are we tracking here? Strong gusty wind. Probably not enough to create significant damage, but just know that we're watching it. The other thing we'll keep an eye on, we'll make sure we don't see any of those kinks start to form in the line. That's where you can get into trouble. So
there's a new severe thunderstorm, it looks like, for Butler, Conecuh, Monroe, Wilcox. Tornado possible, 60-mile-an-hour wind.
So there's severe kind of warning up and down that.
Yeah,
this little kind of broken cluster.
That's very similar to what we had last week with the storms. They could be severe, and at any point you might get a quick
spin up.
Right. Look at that sky, Josh, behind you in Montgomery.
Wow.
That is ominous looking. Let's take that shot there from the RSA Tower. That is ominous.
So the HealthStar camera network, look at that.
In case you're seeing something like this.
But the weather in Montgomery County right now, you're under a tornado watch, so we can't give you an all clear. But what we can tell you is we don't think there's any risk of severe weather that exists in this exact moment.
Right. But you may be, I mean, it's easy. If you're under a tornado watch and you're not a trained meteorologist, you see this and you may start to wonder.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of these low-hanging clouds here, those are called Scud Clouds. They're typically not associated with any actual rotation. They're just, they hang low. And on a day like today, that looks scary. I get it. I understand. I'll get calls from moms, aunts, uncles, cousins. Is there a tornado? Nope, it's just Scud. Just Scud cloud there.
Look at that window wiper.
Yeah, fancy. Man. So,
just to give you a heads up, you may see some ominous looking skies today.
We can actually take that camera. See what we can see here. If we can.
Look at that. Yeah, you might look at that and say, "Whoa."
Yeah,
but
so look,
I promise you.
This is scary stuff to the untrained eye, but I can tell you as trained meteorologists, we instantly look at that and we look at radar in our area. We'll hit the X there. Flip back over to Maxwell radar quickly. There's no rotation in that right now. So that's probably what you're seeing is the tail end right there
of that storm, yeah.
Little flanking storm. So what you're looking at, you're looking from downtown Montgomery back up into this. So that's what it looks like from radar. This is what it looks like sort of at ground level. And again, it looks spooky. And see, it's already gone now.
Yeah.
Those Scud clouds, they're not very persistent at all. Someone will take a photo of it and say, look, a tornado. And you say, well, probably not. So that's kind of where we are right now with Montgomery. The sky looks really scary, but the weather in Montgomery County right now, frankly, is not great, but it's not, you don't need to be taking shelter in Montgomery County. You just need to be paying attention.
Yeah, just make sure if you're under that watch, you just continue to
just
monitor.
Pay attention. Right.
Have your alerts set to on, your push notifications, just, you know, as much as you
Better
can be weather aware today. Yeah, just be weather aware. I think that's a fair way to put it. Looks like Mobile did continue both of these tornado warnings, one out in far west Alabama, one in Wilcox County. They did not expire them early. They are continuing with them, and that is, given the location, it's broad, but it's hard to say exactly what's going on given the location out in Wilcox County. I would recommend staying in your safe place until the warning is canceled, even if there's no tornado. As we learned last week, damaging winds can still cause problems. And even 2 weeks ago, down at Atmore, we had that big issue with damaging straight-line winds. So, you know, severe thunderstorm warnings, treat them seriously. They can cause damage.
Austin, can you say that again in my ear, please? All right. Very good. Did you hear that?
I did not.
Facebook Live viewers will be able to hear us even after we end coverage on WSFA. So
okay.
Don't say anything you don't want your mother to hear.
All right, I will make sure I don't. I'm glad we got that warning.
Yeah, it does help. So tornado watch continues for roughly the southern half of the state of Alabama. The greatest risk of a tornado is over here in southwest Alabama. In this exact moment, the greatest risk is in Wilcox County, Choctaw County, northwestern corner of Clark County. That could change. This line is going to move towards the southeast. So a lot of the core threat here will be in this part of the state. Still, if you live in an area that's under a tornado watch, respect that there could be a surprise in there. So we can't give you an all clear yet. We can't tell you you're good yet. If you live in the tornado watch, you need to be paying attention and stay weather aware. So what we'll do, the tornado warning for Wilcox runs through 9:15. We will maintain coverage, obviously, through that point in time. I think it is unlikely that the Weather Service in Birmingham will choose to extend this warning over into Dallas County. Now, that's a guess. Predicting the weather sometimes is easier than predicting the actions of National Weather Service offices and other human beings.
Right.
So we will put you kind of on alert here in southern Dallas. You need to be paying attention to this. South of Orville, south of Selma. So Sardis, Richmond, Orville. Keep an eye on things. If you live anywhere really along the Alabama River south of Selma, keep an eye on things. Be ready to move. I don't think you have to move yet, but you need to be ready to move. Now, you need to stay in that tornado warning safe spot down here in Wilcox County. So a little update on the location on this whole thing. So we'll go back in. I think the Birmingham Radar is giving us the best look. We're choosing between bad options, but an elongated area of rotation runs from Midway to Yellow Bluff. It is moving towards the northeast. So this is going to head on up towards Prairie Bluff, Roland Cooper State Park, and the north end of downtown Camden. So from downtown Camden and points north, Roland Cooper State Park, Midway, hang with us in that tornado safe spot 10 more minutes. This will pass you, this specific storm. Now, there are other storms west of you, so we can't give you an all clear when this tornado warning ends. We can tell you can come out of that safe place in about 10 minutes, though. So we'll be able to get you out of there momentarily. But again, for now, let's just plan on you staying in that safe place here, northern Wilcox County. Here's Wilcox Central High School. This is Alabama Highway 28. Miller's Ferry Dam sits right here. That's the Midway community. So Yellow Bluff, Camden, Midway, Roland Cooper State Park, the Big Bend there in the Alabama River that comes down to near Camden. Tornado safe place, 10 more minutes.
Yep, and stay there until it's over. You've already made it this long. You don't need to come out yet. Just make sure you're entirely clear of the warning before you were to leave your safe place as we look at all the different data sets we have that are available to us and keeping the area we're watching circled there.
That's the best one.
Yeah, that is the best one. And I mean, we've learned, though, in this particular area, Josh, of Alabama, what you see on radar may not be the most impressive thing ever, but you can get a tornado touchdown, usually not strong, but you can get a tornado that can touch down for just a few minutes with something that looks rather unimpressive. So just because it looks this way and we're not sitting here saying tornado on the ground, that doesn't mean there can't be a tornado.
That's more a reflection of the lack of good radar data than our interpretation of the storm. Our interpretation of the storm is we can't really interpret this storm exceptionally well because we don't have any low-level radar data in this state, in this part of the state. Now, when I say we, I don't even mean just Tyler and I mean every meteorologist who is watching this storm has the same set of problems and issues. So there you have it.
Nothing from Birmingham regarding this storm, although it's getting very close to the Dallas County line. We'll be interested to see what they do with that. They are watching it, at least as of 10 minutes ago. That cell in Wilcox County is being monitored by the National Weather Service in Birmingham for potential warning extension into Dallas County. Nothing yet for Dallas County, of course. If a warning is issued and you're in the warning, you'll get an alert on your phone from our weather app. If it's a tornado warning, you'll get an alert, a wireless emergency alert. That system will be activated if you're under a tornado warning. And you will also get a push alert from our app as well if a tornado warning is issued. So we'll go ahead and close out of that. We'll back up just a little bit here. That was a lot of bit backed up there. Let's go back in to this storm in Wilcox County. And just know that we're watching an area of rotation. You see those bright colors and those dark green pixels there. We'll zoom in just a little bit more since we have that double box up. There's your rotation there just northwest of Camden. That is where we are watching for the potential of a tornado. Well, definitely didn't want to do that. We'll go ahead and exit out of what I clicked on there and go back in and draw right here. That would be the potential tornado just northwest of Camden. If it's not producing a tornado, this storm could very well be producing some damaging straight line wind gusts, and those can be very problematic as well. So your update here, Wilcox County tornado warning. The storm is just north of Camden and is definitely rotating. Now, is it putting a tornado on the ground? We don't know that yet. We can't say for sure. Based off of radar signatures, it's possible, not guaranteed. Tornado warning goes until 9:15 for Wilcox County. This is the National Weather Service in Mobile warning of a possible tornado here in Wilcox County, and it's getting close there to the Dallas County line. We'll have to see what happens in Dallas County. Josh, what are you pulling up here? I believe this is that.
We're on wheels.
Yeah, that's right. They are here today.
Yeah, so there's a research project happening right now to study tornadoes. We've got a new warning coming in.
Until 10 a.m. for Clark and Wilcox.
Severe tornado. That's tornado
tornado
coming
for Clark and Wilcox. That's the storm behind, I believe.
There's a research project happening right now that part of their research domain is into west central Alabama, and this is their radar. This is one of the mobile radar units. Right now it is in northern Lowndes County right here. And that's your pocket of rotation right there. So I get it. This is not, we usually show you things on TV that are a lot smoother than this. But this is raw research data, but it is actual radar data in a place that doesn't have good coverage. So we're going to stick with it. That's it. That's your possible tornado. Northwest of Camden, very close to, maybe a tick south of Miller's Ferry, moving towards the northeast.
And we always talk, Josh, we always mention reds and greens. Traditionally, that is what you see when we show rotation potential. But the different tools, the different products we have, sometimes it's not going to be your traditional perfect red versus green. In perfect instance here, we're looking at the purple, bluish going up against green. Yeah. Don't always look for red versus green. It depends on the situation, depends on where you are. You may get different data here, but just know that where you see the two different colors going up kind of like they were there in Wilcox County, that is where that potential rotation is. And I'm wondering if they're going to move
they actually
closer.
Have, by the way, they have two dowels out today.
I was going to say they might have one closer out there. We'll see.
Here's Dow 7.
Let's see where that one is.
That one's in southern Watauga.
So it's a little farther away.
A little farther away.
Yeah, you're not getting anything
really
down
see
toward
much
Camden.
there. So they've got this, again, it's part of a research project. It's part of a government, very large government research project studying how tornadoes form in the deep south, especially in these sorts of line situations with these storms lined up. And we're thankful to be able to bring you some of their data. This is a part of the world where we don't have good radar data. So that we can give you anything. Quite frankly, we're happy to do it and thankful to do it. So that Dow 7 is the We really want Cal 1, looks like. And I have no idea what those, I know what Dow means. Cal, I'm not quite as sure. But so there, you can see it. It shows up on that one. That's coming out of Lowndes County.
Yeah.
So there's your rotation. It is broad rotation, but it's right there northwest of downtown Camden.
Yeah,
and I get it. This is not your TV-friendly stuff that we normally show you, but I did just want to take you in and share some of that data with you.
Looks like a debris signature into Highway 69 in
Northern
Clark County.
Radar confirmed tornado just north of Coffeyville. So again, this next storm behind this one is what has prompted that. So I think the mobile radar is probably our best angle there. This would be back over here. Confirmed tornado now, northern Clark County coming towards Thomasville. That's your debris signature right there, I suppose. We'll go back in and play this out and see what we can see there. Tough to really make a lot.
Hard to tell, again, given the area we're in.
But remember, Tyler and I, we are trained meteorologists. We do radar analysis all the time, but the National Weather Service has someone sitting there looking at that radar terminal, looking at all the data nonstop. They don't have to talk on television. They don't have to look at social media. They don't have to look up radar on wheels to try to fill a radar gap in West Alabama. They don't have to do any of those things.
Right.
So, and if we can't see it, we defer to them. And in this case, that's exactly what I would say. I'd say this is not the strongest debris signature I've ever seen. It's not the most conclusive, but if the radar operator at the Weather Service sees it, it's there.
Yeah.
So confirmed tornado in northern Clark County. So that's why we have the second tornado warning polygon there for western Wilcox County. It is for this storm coming back out of Clark. There you see the rotation. It actually shows up pretty well. That's it right there. So this is going to move east-northeast, and eventually, should it hold together, this will get into western Wilcox County. But it's going to take some time. I think if you live in western Wilcox, this will be probably 20 to 30 minutes before it arrives for you.
But certainly, if you're in that polygon in western Wilcox, Josh, I would say you need a safe place now.
Yeah, don't waste
wait.
time.
There's no point in waiting.
You gain nothing. You risk everything if you wait too late on this.
And it looks like the one that is near Camden, or just a few miles north of Camden, they extended the tornado warning until 9:30.
Just give it so they redrew the polygon there is what they did.
Yeah.
You can see it up here. So we'll wait on that. That's going to be in Dallas County momentarily. So this is the smaller tornado warning polygon now, goes from the north end of Camden over kind of up Highway 41 to the Dallas line. So that's really about it. There's a Hardee's that sits right down here. If you live from downtown Camden, the Hardee's there north on 41, back to the Dallas line, stay in that tornado safe place. If you live along the Alabama River, due north of Camden, stay in that tornado safe place. And then Wilcox County has another tornado coming out of Clark that will bear watching as well. So.
And that could very well go over the same areas that the first storm has currently been impacting. So if you have to go back to the safe place, just know it's not the storm already hit, I'm done for the day. There's potential for multiple. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm curious here, Josh, to see what they do with Dallas County with that storm knocking on the doorstep here. If they issue a severe thunderstorm warning, or
let it ride.
We'll see what they do for Dallas County. But right now,
it looks
radar
like a
confirmed,
trying to develop there with
which,
that one.
Based off of where that is and where everything is set up,
makes sense, wouldn't it?
It would be a hail producer, right?
Tornado watch canceled for Greene and Sumter County, and that's some good news to share with you. The way this line is shaped and is moving, once this passes where you live, it's over. Demopolis, the risk of severe weather has ended in Demopolis. It will soon end in Marion and Uniontown and Fawnsdale. We're not quite there yet, but we're close. And as this begins to push more towards the southeast, you'll see that severe weather threat start to wane. And Tyler, this is working out. You and I talked when I first arrived in today. We talked about how the south end of this would strengthen out and build towards the coast. The north end is where we would have these apex tornadoes on the top end of these bow echoes right there. And then those would progressively start forming farther south as it got closer, as the MCS gets closer to the Gulf Coast. And so far, that is exactly what we're seeing.
It has behaved very well. And forecast modeling technology has become so good. It's come so far. I will say, and you saw it too, some of the models depicted almost within miles exactly of what's happening right now.
Another storm I'm going to give you a first alert on here is this down here, rotation near Frisco City.
And that's out by itself.
It is, yeah. So really pay attention here. Conecuh County You're already under a severe thunderstorm warning with back into Monroe, but this storm needs to be watched. Some modest rotation there. It's not out of the question you end up in it with a tornado warning down here. So just the first alert heads up here. This would be western and northwestern Conecuh County and east central Monroe County, between Monroeville and Evergreen. Again, you're not under a tornado warning. You do not need to act right now. You do, however, need to pay very close attention.
And that would be whether or not that becomes a tornadic storm. That would be heading in the general direction, Josh, of I-65 near McKenzie and Georgiana would likely be where that would cross I-65 should that hold together and possibly become warned for a tornado. Right now it's severe thunderstorm with the text of tornado possible. So let's see, a new 916 tornado still being listed as observed with that one for Clark County into Wilcox.
Circulation in Clark County, about 5 miles south of Campbell. That's from Jason Beeman. I've known Jason a long time.
Great guy.
Great guy, great meteorologist. So he's right now running the running point, I suppose, down at the National Weather Service office down in Mobile. And this is their area of responsibility, Clark and Wilcox, and the other storm, Monroe and Conecuh. So these are all Mobile counties. Dallas, Marengo belong to Birmingham. So that's why you're seeing this tiny tornado warning polygon here. This storm's moving into Dallas County. At this point, I think it's unlikely that the Weather Service in Birmingham would issue on that. If they haven't yet, I don't suppose they would, but we'll keep an eye on it. And you should too, southern Dallas County. You need to stay weather aware as this moves towards you.
Did you get that from in the back there? Brandon Kopic is on I-65 near Greenville. If we ever want to jump into his coverage, we have it, just so you're aware. That's one of our good friends, helps us out during severe weather coverage, a storm chaser from up in Ohio. He is on I-65. There you go, just so we can show you here what we have. And, of course, his signal is dependent upon service. So where he is now in Greenville, I-65, you can see it's raining there. You're going to have service. So he's up and running right now, his live stream. This is him heading southbound, I'm going to assume, based off of what I see on the exit there. Yeah, southbound confirmed on I-65, Josh. That's looks like the Greenville exit.
Kind of the main Greenville exit with all the commercial stuff. So Bates House of Turkey would probably be just off to the right there.
And he would be heading toward the storm you wanted to give a first alert about down to the west of Evergreen along the Monroe-Conecuh County line. If that were to become a tornado-warned storm, he would have great coverage of that should his service continue to be good enough for a live stream. I know that's kind of a rough area for cell phone service.
It can be.
But that's very helpful to have ground truth. We always talk about it. Cameras, live streams. Boy, in that area, too, that is very helpful. So we'll continue to jump back and forth into Brandon Kopic's live stream should we need to. We have another tool at our arsenal. We'll use it if we need to. Great thing to have. But for now, we're focused on the tornado warnings for Clark and Wilcox County. And it looks like the storm, at least the core of it, for that Camden storm is now into Dallas, and no warning has been issued from Birmingham for Dallas. So
let's go into the Birmingham radar here. That'll give us a better look in here. It's rotating for sure, but remember, the lowest radar tilt here is still 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet above the ground. So this rotation that you're seeing is up at the cloud level, and it is anyone's guess how far down it extends. Now, that's the case with every storm we track. We're almost never able to see ground level. But this part of Alabama that we're in out here, we can't see anything below about 3,000 to 5,000 feet, depending on exactly what part of the Black Belt you're in. That's a big deal. So that's probably the lack of reports is probably Birmingham's philosophy here, I would assume, that this has moved across Wilcox. We haven't seen a report. That's it. It's still rotating, but the rotation is likely happening aloft,
which could produce hail. Rotating storms can be hail producers, not just tornado producers.
That's right. And I would have thought we would have seen a little better hail swath out of that one.
Yeah, not much going on.
I think that the brighter reflectivity core has just formed there in the last few scans, so that could be part of it. Maybe it hasn't had time to really fully mature and trip those radar algorithms just yet.
And it could be, it also may be getting into an area that's not, it may be going elevated in the sense that it's going into the cooler air and becoming more of a hail threat as opposed to a tornado threat. As it gets closer to US 80, the farther north this activity goes, the less likely you're going to get a tornado. The closer or the farther south, so take US 80 and go south. The farther south you drive or go would be the tornado threat getting higher. So we've talked about it over and over again. That's where we continue to emphasize the risk of tornadoes and damaging winds would be higher the farther south you go from US 80 and I-85. So that would be our southern and southeastern counties, the ones that are currently under warnings, and eventually it could be Covington, Escambia, Crenshaw, Butler. We'll have to see here what they do regarding the warnings, because the storm in Clark County, northern Clark County, is heading in the same direction as the Camden storm did. So we'll have to see if that continues and the air continues to not support tornadoes. As these storms get closer and closer to Dallas, Lowndes, they might lose their ability to produce a tornado and just be hail and perhaps gusty wind producers. But as far as we're aware, our good buddy down in the National Weather Service in Mobile, Jason Beeman, still... the last update was that this is radar observed, and that would be between Thomasville and Coffeyville there. That's a mess on debris detector, isn't it?
I'm not sure we will defer to Jason's judgment and wisdom on that one, because the way that kind of, well, you could kind of see it right there, the little blue flash in the pan right there. That was probably it. The way it's kind of down radial, it's tough to really make a lot out of it. So again, if you're just joining us, the National Weather Service has a radar operator sitting there. They're doing nothing but analyzing radar data. We are analyzing a lot of it on the fly, but we're also looking at other sources of data, communicating internally, communicating with you, communicating with the control room. So we defer to their judgment on
emergency management there in Clark County, Josh.
Coffeyville, starting to receive unconfirmed damage reports, Coffeyville area. So that would make sense based on what we just saw with the animation there, with that bright blue flash on the north end of Coffeyville. So if we have a tornado with this, it's still in Clark County. We're staying on for a couple of reasons. We've got the tornado warning that does include western Wilcox and northern Wilcox. The northern Wilcox one, the danger there is almost over. The rotating part of that storm is almost exclusively in Dallas County, but still, if you live north of downtown Camden near Roland Cooper State Park, stay in that safe place another, 5 minutes or so, and we'll be able to get you out of that one. Western Wilcox, you've got to keep an eye on what's happening back downstream with this storm coming out of Clark County. It has a history of producing tornado damage. And I want to give you another first alert here. If you live at Monroeville, I think you are going to get blasted with strong straight line winds. A little miniature bow echo forming here. This is going to race east and southeast. So Clark, Monroe, just a heads up, this could be the type of wind damage where you see 70, 75 mile per hour straight line wind gust here. So this would be, again, Monroe County back into Clark County. Then you've got the tornado warning up on the northern side of that bow echo near Thomasville. That one's moving east-northeast towards western Wilcox. Rotation still present with that one. It had a debris signature with it earlier. You could probably make the argument that that debris signature is gone, but we will defer to the National Weather Service in Mobile on that. They have a dedicated radar operator with eyes in this storm. The other thing I think it's happening, boy, there's rain wrapped, and then there's what this is. This thing is just
rain all capitalized,
shrouded in rain.
And that would go ahead, and if you're someone, I know there are those out there who are interested in severe weather, tornadoes, I'm going to take a picture, I'm going to take a video, I'm going to give storm reports. And if you're doing that, if you're someone who likes to do that, with this particular setup, not only are tornadoes already hard to see in Alabama because most times they're very low to the ground, the cloud bases, so there's trees everywhere, it's hard to find them and spot them. But with this particular instance, if you're someone who wants to see a tornado, if you want to get photos of it, this is not the time to do it. This instance will not give you something that you're able to take a picture of. It's not worth it. Those events are rare. To get perfect picturesque tornadoes in Alabama, not common. In this particular instance, it is not going to happen.
Yeah, and leave it to the pros. And we've got pros out here. There's the Perils Research Project is operating in the state of Alabama today. There are tornado researchers. I'm talking PhDs driving around Alabama with mobile radars today. We've shown you some of their data earlier in this broadcast. We've got Brandon Kopic, who is a trained, experienced, seasoned storm chaser. He's out in this. We've got eyes on this. So, and we've got radar. We've got more or less radar out here to show you at least where the storm is. The details get missed because of the gap, but we can at least show you where the storm is and track what we need to track. So it's approaching Thomasville right now. There is the rotation. You'll note here, though, fun fact, we're getting very close to the edge of the usable mobile radar data. It's right through there. So
surprise, right?
This is leaving Clark County, and once you get up here into northern Clark, you enter into this radar gap. For those of you who haven't watched us explain this before, we get good low-level radar data when we are close to the radar. When you get far away from the radar beam, by the time it gets to that storm, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 feet above the ground. That means everything underneath that is a complete blind spot in the black belt of West Alabama. We are working as individuals, collectively as a television station, with our local, county, state, and federal partners to try to fix that, but it is going to take some time. And that they're warning for what we were talking about there.
Considerable wind threat here. And when they only use that word if the damaging wind risk is 70 miles an hour or stronger.
So that's it. They issued for that we were just talking about, this little bow echo that's forming right here. And when I say little, I mean size, not intensity. This thing is really packing a wallop. So Clark County, Jackson, all the way over through Monroeville, strong straight line wind gusts between now and 10:30. The other thing I'm going to keep an eye on, Tyler, so we talked about this. This is crazy how this is all sort of coming to fruition. So the bow echo forms, a tornado forms along it. It sort of spins off and becomes rain mass. And then on the northern side of the bow, a new tornado forms south of the original circulation. I think you've got to keep a very close eye on this right here.
If you were reading a meteorology textbook, this mesoscale textbook in meteorology, Josh, this would be exactly it. It doesn't get any more traditional textbook. Yeah, no pun intended. Absolutely. This is about as textbook of an event as it gets in terms of a line of storms.
Bow echoes, tornadoes forming in the apex, strong straight line wind gusts. Logistical note here. This is from Wilcox County. The tornado sirens there are not functioning. There is some type of technical problem. The Wilcox County EMA is sending out emergency alerts via alternative systems. And we've said for years, do not rely on tornado sirens, please. They will get you killed for a number of reasons. There are technical issues with everything, obviously, including tornado sirens. Some days they just don't work. They're not designed to wake you up inside your home. And Tyler, I can tell you from my home in Prattville, I actually posted a video of it on Facebook one day. I happened to be just hanging out, and they were testing the tornado sirens. So I went and laid the phone down in my bedroom, closed the door, and recorded it. It would have never woken me up in a million years. I would have slept right through it. And that's with no rain falling. So you get the noise of a thunderstorm. You're not going to hear a tornado siren unless you live too close to the darn thing. So please have multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings. The WSFA First Alert weather app paired with a NOAA weather radio will give you a combination of reliability and specifics that are unbeatable. So we encourage you to do that. Have that weather radio, have the WSFA First Alert weather app. That's a winning combination. So tornado warning now, western Wilcox, northern Wilcox. That northern Wilcox is going to go away in a matter of seconds. I think in about 30 seconds, we will see that one disappear. Good riddance.
And then you've got the new one taking the exact same path. Thomasville, Pine Hill, in the general direction of Camden.
Yep. And southern Dallas, you probably stay on your toes here. We don't see a strong signature in that, but there is some broad rotation south of Selma. Not enough to where you need to get in that tornado safe place, but enough to where it's probably best practice for you to just sort of pay attention here. I'm going to hit a reset button right down there.
What's going on in Birmingham chat there? Something new has been posted in there. Let's see if that's useful. It's all useful information, but looks like a flood advisory, Bibb, Chilton, Jefferson, Shelby till 11:30. Yeah, there could, and that's, it's not the main concern, but with a massive rain like that, you could have some water rises in urban and poor drainage areas.
As I often say, it's not the main concern until it's your concern.
That is very true.
So if you're driving 65 north to Birmingham, understand there are flooding issues ongoing between Montgomery and Birmingham in many places. Those will probably continue. And really, honestly, this entire chunk of the state, there will be isolated flash flooding that develops in poorly drained low-lying areas. So just a first alert heads up. We've talked about that for a few days now, but that's kind of I think we're probably transitioning to that being a primary concern. North of Highway 80, I would suggest that's really the main concern is flooding. South of Highway 80 and west of 65, I think you've got a risk of damaging wind, isolated tornadoes. Elsewhere in the state, flooding is probably our largest concern at this point in time. And the other thing we'll point out here, and the mobile radar gives us a little better perspective of this line perhaps, but if you draw a line that looks like this, behind that line, the risk of severe weather is ended. So very soon, I would suspect in the next half hour, Marengo County will get canceled out of that tornado watch, and then Perry, and then Dallas, and Autauga not too long after that, as this starts to really accelerate back down to the south. So,
some good news. You'll see when we talk about watches, they're usually issued for multiple hours because that's when ingredients are going to be favorable for a tornado. Tornado watch is issued for usually several hours, but they start to cancel them early for counties once they are cleared out of an event. So you're going to start to see additional counties canceled. Once you are certain your county is out of that watch, whether it be from us, social media, and the National Weather Service, wherever you get your reliable weather information, once you know that you're not in a watch any longer, your risk is done for the day.
So they've got this back to being a radar-indicated tornado, not confirmed.
That's good news.
The Clark-Wilcox. So that is good news. That means they're not seeing that debris signature anymore. So the rotation here is over Thomasville, and it's going to move up towards Pine Hill, Yellow Bluff, Miller's Ferry, Culpeper, Hessel. A lot of these communities we've already named today. With the first storm, we're now going to have to kind of name off again. So if you live in western Wilcox County, from Yellow Bluff, Miller's Ferry, Pine Hill, Culpeper, Coy, Hessel, all the way back to the Clark line, get in and stay in that tornado safe place through at least 10 a.m. Lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet. If you have a helmet that can help protect your head and neck, that's a bonus. It doesn't have to be a specific kind of helmet. It can be a bike helmet, a motorcycle helmet, football helmet, anything that will offer additional head and neck protection can be very useful in the event of a tornado. So this, again, is western Wilcox. We will note the tornado warning polygon does not extend all the way over into downtown Camden. Now, some of you with Camden addresses that live out on the far west end towards the river, you may be edging into the side of that polygon, but the polygon itself does not go over into downtown Camden.
And just, something to get a point across here, when they issue tornado warnings, they draw the polygons. If you see Wilcox County tornado warning, like you see at the bottom of your screen on our current coverage, if you see Wilcox County tornado warning, wherever you see that, that doesn't mean it's the entire county. They used to do it that way. You would do entire counties, but it's polygon based now. So if you see at the bottom of your screen, tornado warning, Wilcox and Clark counties, anytime we cut in for severe weather, anytime you see different counties listed off as being under a warning, just know that doesn't necessarily mean every house, every community, every street, every neighborhood in that county is under the warning. So you may not, for example, sirens, which we don't suggest using as a way of getting information, but Camden, you may not hear the sirens because you're not in the warning. But part of Wilcox County is. It's not the whole county we're talking to. So when we say get to your safe place, we're talking those in the polygon or those that may eventually be in a future polygon.
That's exactly right.
Not the whole county, yeah.
Yep, and if you're just joining us in Wilcox County, the tornado siren's not functioning properly this morning. The EMA sending out alerts via alternative kind of methods there. That's from my friend Melissa Dove. She's the EMA director there in Wilcox County. So Melissa, by the way, part of our team that is helping to work to solve this radar gap issue that plagues us on so many days like today. We have done this over and over. All right, so tornado warning, western Wilcox County for a storm coming out of Clark County. Let's do this. We're kind of a stage reset here. It is 9:35 on a Tuesday morning. You're watching continuous weather coverage on WSFA 12 News Montgomery. This is meteorologist Tyler Seabury. I am Josh Johnson. We are on continuously for a tornado-warned storm that is moving out of Clark County and into western Wilcox County. Showers and thunderstorms cover most of the state at this hour. Heavy rain falling now. Dallas, Marengo, Perry, Autauga, Elmore, Montgomery. Really, it's raining hard across almost everywhere. It might be easier to tell you where it's not raining hard.
At this point, yeah.
The good news is this rain is helping to stabilize the air. And I think the tornado threat will tend to sort of maximize over the next couple of hours from about Demopolis down to Geneva. So this general part of the state over here would be where we have the greatest risk of a tornado between now and about noon. After noon, I think the risk goes down even more, and we'll probably be able to cancel out a lot of these central counties well before the original tornado watch expiration time of 2 p.m. So that's sort of where we are. If you live in Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, Wetumpka, Selma, Clanton, Alex City, Opelika, Beauregard, Auburn, Tuskegee, many of you that I just named, you are in a tornado watch. The risk of a tornado right now is very low for you. It's not zero, but it is very low. And we don't see any storm on the map that is capable of producing a tornado in these areas as of this exact time. But understand, weather is fluid. It changes all the time. So that could change at any given moment. Stay weather aware, but certainly early trends are very encouraging, especially north of Highway 80. This is our problem child right down here. This is part of a large line of storms that extends back into the state of Mississippi. You see it here. This one will produce damaging wind gusts across Clark County, Monroe County, Wilcox County, and then curving back into South Mississippi as it dives south towards the Gulf Coast.
Did you hear that on the phone? We have Melissa Dove, Wilcox County, on the phone. Yeah.
My IFB volume is not where I've got it turned all
That's
the way
okay.
up.
That's why we got two of us.
Very
right?
low. They say
Passing
the hearing is
along
the
you.
first thing that goes when you get old. So, Melissa, how are you doing this morning? This is Melissa Dove, the director of the Wilcox County Emergency Management Agency. Melissa, walk us through. Your county has had a very busy morning and an issue with the tornado sirens. Can you give us an update?
Well, right now we don't have any reports of any damage except for one tree that's fallen on the Camden bypass, but it was actually in the path of that tornado last week, so it was already leaning just a little bit, just hadn't had time to get it taken care of, but it has fallen. But other than that, we have not had any reports of any damage. The tornado sirens, we think, may be the problem here at the 911 office because we took on some damage to our building last week with the tornado. So we're thinking it's an antenna problem. But I got one of my employees is out here in the rain working on it for me, trying to get it going.
I know you're hopeful that you can get the sirens back online anyway, but very soon. But Melissa, we talk a lot about the importance of having multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings, and this is just a good reminder that you can't rely exclusively on those tornado sirens. You need to have some backup options for sure.
Absolutely. We use Rave, which is smart911.com. You can go on and sign up for it. Click Wilcox County Emergency Management. You can get it 4 different ways: text message, phone call, email, whichever way you decide that you want to get the alerts. And we've been setting them off regularly this morning since early. But everybody needs multiple ways. Watch TV, watch the weather. I get so many text messages and messages on Facebook. What's the weather going to do tomorrow? I depend on you guys to tell me that, and the National Weather Service out of Mobile. So it's just people need to just be weather aware, especially this time of the year. And after we were hit with that EF1 tornado last week, we were so fortunate and so lucky, but people did get their warnings on their phone. We were not under a tornado warning when it happened. We were under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that goes back to us not having a radar, which is so much needed in our area.
So, Melissa, Tyler Sieber here, just while Josh is changing his batteries out, you mentioned the tornado that did touch down with our event last week. What do you say to folks that live in your county who are maybe under a severe thunderstorm warning, who get that sense of, well, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, it's not a big deal?
Well, they just need to pay attention. I've posted, trying to make people more weather aware. We've posted a lot of pictures from that tornado that hit us. And I learned a lot when Jason and Beeman came up from the Weather Service. I learned a lot from, what they look for, how they determine if it's a tornado or just straight line winds. But people just need to start being aware of what's going on and the difference in the watches and the warnings and severe. It just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and severe thunderstorm warnings can definitely be just as bad as tornado warnings. It depends on the situation. Josh, as we're tracking this, that was very helpful to hear information from a local EMA director. Always helpful to hear what's going on at ground level, what they're experiencing in their respective counties. And I think we're going to let Melissa Duff go. Melissa, we thank you for your time, and we'll check back in with her if need be.
Yeah, she does a great job down there in Wilcox County, and the emergency management directors in our state, we're blessed to have a lot of really good ones in Alabama at the county level. They are very much sort of the boots on the ground. They are there in the thick of a lot of this, and of all the good information Melissa passed along, the part I was happiest to hear, no damage reported in Wilcox County at this time. There was one tree down on the bypass, but Melissa indicated that was weakened from last week's EF1 tornado that touched down near downtown Camden. So that's where we stand. Now, the tornado warning for Wilcox County is for this storm. You see it here.
And it looks like, Josh, they just canceled that.
Did they?
Yep. Damaging wind threat continues. We have canceled the tornado warning for Clark and Wilcox.
Well, hallelujah.
That is always good news. When you hear us use cancel and tornado warning in the same sentence,
it's a happy day.
It is.
Happy day, happy day. Okay, so we're going to get you back to programming, quite frankly. So here's the setup, and we'll leave you with this. Understand, we're not going anywhere. We'll be here all day. Tyler is going to have an update coming up in about an hour and 16 minutes at 10:58. Alabama Live begins. That's our news and variety program that goes at 11 a.m. each day. It also has a lot of weather in it. He's going to walk you through this. So we'll have an update coming along there. We've got the weather app. As soon as this ends, I'm going to go in the back and do a quick weather app video walking you through what to expect as well. And in the meantime, should we see any sign of any type of damaging, life-threatening weather scenario, whether it be straight line wind, huge hail, tornadoes, we will interrupt programming again. Our last break when we did this lasted about 2 hash browns.
Yes, I got 2 hash browns in me, and I wasn't even finished chewing them yet, and there it was.
So that's the deal here. If we see anything like that, we will get back on the air very, very rapidly. So we'll leave you with a quick kind of situational update here. You've got a bow echo with some strong straight line winds here. Clark, western Wilcox County. It's moving east, so Monroe, Wilcox, western Conecuh, western Butler County, be on the lookout for isolated pockets of damaging wind gusts. Now, within this line, brief pockets of rotation could form. Those will need to be watched as they could produce brief, quick tornado touchdowns on an isolated basis. Elsewhere in Alabama, a tornado watch continues for much of the central counties of the state. That said, these storms right now, none of them are rotating. Heavy rain continues to stabilize the atmosphere. And as we have kind of maintained all along, we think the tornado risk in this setup runs from about Demopolis down towards Geneva and points southwest. So this would be the corridor between now and about noon. After noon, we think the tornado risk goes down substantially statewide. So on behalf of meteorologist Tyler Seabury, I am Josh Johnson. We appreciate you watching WSFA 12 News. We'll be back with a full weather update in 75 minutes. For now, we'll send you back to programming.